Okay, kita start seterusnya ya. Hafiz, Anas nampak tak? Can you see this PowerPoint?
Nampak ke, Teh?
Nampak ada.
Okay, so okay, in the last two parts, okay, we have already looked at the introduction and also on the basic, okay, formula that is contribution margin and also contribution margin ratio. So now we're going to look into the application of the of using contribution margin or contribution margin to the break-even point and determining the target profit. And after that, you can do the BEP chart, okay, the break-even point chart. Okay. So after contribution margin ratio, we're now looking to break-even point. Okay, so in break-even point, like I said previously, it means that at this point, okay, the company is not making any profit or it's not making a loss. Okay, so the profit is zero. Okay, profit is zero, and it means here, okay, total revenue must be the same as the total cost. Okay, so total revenue is the same as total cost. So this is the condition for break even. Profit is zero. Total revenue is the same as total cost. Okay. So this is the point. Okay. No loss, no profit. So when there is a profit, okay, usually revenue will be more than variable cost plus fixed cost. Okay. And when there is a loss, usually revenue is less than variable cost plus fixed cost. So at break even, okay, revenue is equal to variable cost plus fixed cost. Okay. So here positive, this is negative. So here is zero. The break even is the profit is zero. Okay, here the profit is more than zero. Okay, at break even, profit is zero. And if there's a loss, okay, there is the profit is negative. Okay, so because it's a loss. Okay. Okay. So the break-even point can be expressed in units of products or dollars of sales. Okay. So you can express it. You can express it in volume, okay, or quantity, or you can express the break-even point in dollars. Okay. So you can express it either in quantity or you can express it in dollars. Okay, so the break-even point is the level of sales when the company's income is exactly equal to zero. Okay, so you can express the BEP either in quantity or in dollars. Okay. Okay, so this is just the explanation of the BEP. Okay, so the condition. Okay, so the purpose of the break-even analysis is to calculate, okay, the amount of sales that will equate the revenues to expense and the amount of excess revenue will, which is also known as profit after the fixed and variable costs are met. Okay, so that is the purpose of the break-even analysis. Okay, so in calculating the break-even point, you can use the mathematical equation or using the contribution margin or contribution margin ratio application, or you can also derive it from the CVP graph. Okay, but if this is if this is in accounting. Okay, we want to see you using the contribution margin approach. Okay, so no mathematical equation. Okay. Okay. This is when you use, okay, the mathematical equation to calculate the break even. Okay. Here you can use the equation of sales equals to variable cost plus fixed cost plus net income. Okay. And if you want to find the quantity, so if you know the sales price per unit, then you times it with the quantity. Okay, so and for each element here, okay, will have to be and not each element, and the variable cost element must also be time you must time it with also with quantity, and then input the amount of fixed cost. Okay, and at this point, because there is no income, so the net income will be zero, so you will get, okay, the quantity. Okay, when you minus variable cost from sales, okay, and the amount will be the same as the fixed cost, okay, and quantity after that will be 1000, will be fixed cost minus the fixed cost divide by sales minus variable cost. Okay, so this is using, okay, the mathematical equation. Now, if you want to use the contribution margin technique, okay, because this is accounting, you have to use this technique. Okay, so when you want to use the contribution margin technique, okay, you can either use contribution margin per unit or contribution margin ratio. Okay. So if the question requires you to find the break-even point in units, okay, you will have to use the contribution margin per unit. But if the question asks you to find the break-even point in dollars, okay, or the sales in dollars, okay, the BEP sales in dollars, it means that they want to know the amount of sales in dollars, okay, you will have to use the contribution margin approach, the contribution margin formula, okay. The general formula will be fixed cost over contribution margin per unit for break-even point in units, or fixed cost over or divide contribution margin ratio for break-even point in dollars. Okay, so these are the two basic formula in BEP. Okay, so before you can arrive to this calculating the formula for BEP, you must know how to calculate first the contribution margin per unit and the contribution margin ratio. So what I suggest is if it's in your examination, okay, calculate both contribution margin per unit and contribution margin ratio, and then apply it according to what the question asks. Okay, so if you have to find BEP in units, you're going to use the contribution margin per unit. So if you want to find the BEP in dollars, you're going to use the contribution margin ratio. Okay, so if you don't remember how to find the contribution margin, okay, so you can actually replace it with sales price per unit over variable cost per unit. Okay, if you want to find sales break-even point in unit. Okay. Okay, so this is the same computing the break-even point. Okay, this is also formula. Okay, so now we're looking at an example of computing the break-even point in units. Okay, so this is the information given. Okay, the sales revenue is 200,000. The unit sold is 2,000 unit. The variable cost is 140,000. Okay, so what is the contribution margin? Okay, so the total contribution margin is 60,000. So if you want to find the contribution margin per unit, 60,000 divided by the unit sold. Okay, so we get $30 per unit. Okay, the fixed cost is 24,000. Okay, so how many units must this company sell to cover its fixed cost break even? So the question asks how many units. So you're going to use, okay, the formula fixed cost over contribution margin per unit. Okay, so now you know the fixed cost is 24,000. So divide with the contribution margin per unit, 30 ringgit. Okay, so you will get 800 units. Okay, so if you want to know what is the sales, okay, um, okay, how many dollars must this company sell to cover its fixed cost? Okay, so you're going to use the contribution margin ratio calculation. Okay, so replace the contribution margin per unit with contribution margin ratio to get the answer for sales in dollars. Okay, so now if you want to determine what is the amount in dollars, okay, so you're going to use the CMR. Okay, so now the same amount here. Okay, so first you have to find the contribution margin ratio. So this is the contribution margin 30, and this is the sales price per unit. So the contribution margin will be 30 over 100. It will be 30%. Okay, so now replace it in the formula fixed cost over CM ratio. Okay, so fixed cost is 24,000, CM ratio is 0.3. Okay, so the answer will be 80,000. Okay, so if you want to check whether this amount is actually true, okay, so 0.3 times with no 0.3 times 200. No. Okay, you cannot check it. Okay, okay, this is the amount to cover its fixed cost. Okay, so no, you cannot check it that way. Okay, so this is to find, okay, the BEP, okay, the dollars, okay, the sales dollars at break even point. Okay, so what will be the break even point amount, okay, sales amount in dollars. Okay, tadi salah. Okay, so now this is an exercise. Okay, try to answer boleh Anas ataupun Hafiz. Okay, ABC company sells product XYZ at $5 per unit. Okay, so if fixed costs are 200,000 and variable costs are 3,000 per unit, how many units must be sold to break even? Okay, who can answer this? Which is the
Saya
answer?
nak kira jap.
Okay, try answer.
Kiranya yang 200,000 tu sale revenue Sale revenue kan?
Tak, itu fixed cost.
Oh, fixed cost.
Okay, apa jawapan dia? Dapat dah?
Saya kalau kira saya rasa saya dapat A. Sebab
Ya?
yang 5 tolak 3 jadi
Okay.
200 sebab dia ikut pada breakpoint invent. So
Nanti
2,000
2.
tu
200,000.
bahagi 2.
Betul. Okay, okay, 5 minus 3 you will get 2. Okay, so that is contribution margin per unit. Okay, so selling price minus variable cost per unit, okay, will be you will get the contribution margin per unit. Sebab ni dia minta how many units, okay? So then to find the break-even point, because this is finding in units, so you will use the formula BP equals to fixed cost over contribution margin per unit. Okay, so you have found the contribution margin per unit to be at RM2 per unit. So now take the fixed cost 100,000 divide by 2. Okay, so the answer will be 100,000 units. Okay, so senang. It's very simple, but usually in the exam student will get confused. Padahal it's very straightforward. Okay, if you follow the step, it's very straightforward. Okay, you will get a little bit confused if there is a sensitivity analysis. But sensitivity analysis one, you will actually follow back the same process. Okay, cuma you will replace the new amount into the same formula. Okay, so this is calculating the contribution margin using the contribution margin per unit. Okay, so now you can also calculate using the information given, okay, to find the sales in dollars. Okay, so now what will be this sales in dollars? Okay, so jawapan dia memanglah you boleh senang je 100,000 darab dengan 2 tu, tapi sekarang ni I don't want you to use that formula that I don't want you to use the simplified approach. So do it step by step, but now use the contribution margin formula. Okay, so how do you get the contribution margin formula? Okay, so you have already got the contribution margin per unit. So now you have to find the CMR ratio. So what will be the CMR ratio? Tadi siapa jawab? Anas ke Hafiz?
Tadi saya jawab.
Anas Hafiz, saya tak tengok ni.
Saya jawab tadi.
Okay, seorang lagi jawab sebab saya tak pergi dekat Google ni tadi. Jimmy. Okay, so cuba jawab ni ke awak nak try lagi jawab?
Ini nak cari CMR, right? CMR,
Yes.
contribution. Kiranya kalau ikut formula,
Try to use CMR. Sebab because
kalau ikut formula, sale bahagi variable cost ke kena buat susah sikit?
Kalau ikut formula, first you have already determined the contribution margin per unit. Okay, so you know the total contribution margin per unit is RM2 kan? Okay, so now you want to know the ratio of the contribution margin to sales. Okay, so kita menggunakan contribution margin ratio. So CMR ni will be contribution margin divide by sales. Okay, so tadi contribution margin was $2. Okay, now $2 divide by 5. What is the CMR ratio? Okay, so berapa ratio dia? 2/5. Okay.
0.4.
0.4. So now if you want to find the BEP in sales amount, okay, sales dollars, okay, so now the same formula but dia punya pembawah dia, kalau sini unit contribution kan, okay, so you tengok yang dekat arrow saya tunjuk, this is unit contribution. So now fixed cost will be you will divide fixed cost with the CMR. Okay, so ini ganti because you want to find in dollars. Okay, so now the fixed cost is 200,000. Okay, and the ratio that you got is 0.4, right? Okay, so 200,000 divide by 0.4. Okay, so that will be the BEP in sales amount. Okay, in sales, in dollars amount. Okay, so apa jawapan dia?
D.
Okay, 500,000. Okay, So this is the answer. Okay, so for if you now you can get the BEP in two forms, okay? In dalam dua bentuk. Satu, okay, if you want to find the BEP in units, you will use, okay, pembawah dia, okay? Denominator ke apa? Yang here yang bawah fixed cost tu contribution margin per unit. Now, if you want to find it in dollars amount, the BEP in dollars amount, okay, you can use the CMR. Okay, so replace contribution margin per unit with the contribution margin ratio. Okay, so you will get this answer. Okay, kalau yelah. Okay, so you will get this answer. Okay, untuk break even revenue. Okay, faham tak? Boleh faham tak?
Faham.
Okay, so guna mathematics, mathematical equation is okay. But usually student dia ada tertinggal, nanti dia tersalah, semua dikira by quantity. Sedangkan you cannot use quantity. Fixed cost cannot times with quantity. Okay, jadi jangan guna that calculation. So use this formula. Okay, so but for this formula, you have to take another step. After you calculate the contribution margin per unit, you will have to find the contribution margin ratio. Okay, now bila you dah cari the contribution margin ratio, so you can look at the question. Does the question ask on units or does the question ask on dollar amount? Okay, so if units, you use fixed cost divide by contribution margin per unit. But if it asks you to find the sales amount, okay, you will divide fixed cost with contribution margin ratio. Okay, kalau guna mathematical equation, okay juga. Tapi, okay, tapi kena berhati-hati. Okay, takut tersilap. So better use this. Okay. Okay, now when you have calculated all this, you can actually prepare, okay, a CVP chart, okay, or a break-even chart. So in preparing the break-even chart, okay, the calculation can actually be summarized in the following chart. Okay. So the horizontal axis will denote units and vertical axis will count sales and cost in money terms. Okay, so the green line is total revenue for every unit sold and the blue line is total cost for every unit sold. The point where these two lines intersect is the break-even point. Okay, so ini cerita-cerita nanti baca faham lah. Okay, okay. So this is the CVP chart. Okay, so you can actually prepare the CVP chart based on the information that you have calculated from those example. Okay, so the break-even chart have two axes, okay, whereby the vertical axis shows the cost. Okay, so cost is usually dollars amount lah. Okay, and then the horizontal chart is the volume or the quantity. Okay, so first of all, you draw the total sales revenue, line. Okay, so the red line. Okay, so draw saja. Okay, and then determine the fixed cost. Okay, what is the fixed cost amount? Okay, so tadi the fixed cost is 240,000 ke? Okay, 200,000. Okay, so cari unit, the amount here 200,000. Okay, so draw a straight line. Okay, so the point here 200,000, draw a straight line. Okay, then for the total cost, okay, you start at the fixed cost point and draw a line that will intersect with the total sales revenue line. Okay, line merah. Okay, so line biru ni, okay, the blue line will intersect with the red line. Okay, so the point of intersection is the break-even point. Okay, so if you know, okay, you have already calculated, okay, so you have already known that the break-even point, okay, will be 100,000 unit. Okay, so dot ke bawah. Okay, so put here 100,000, and the amount in dollars is 50,000. Okay, 50,000. So dot here. So this is the break-even point sales amount. Okay, so that is preparing the CVP chart based on the situation that was given above. Okay, so this is the step lah. Okay, so ini contoh-contoh macam mana nak buat CVP chart. Okay, so the line here, okay, so ini ni, what does this area represent? Okay, so when you draw the CVP chart, you can highlight lah, okay, you have to highlight what does this area represent, okay. So show the name for the lines, okay, what is the cost lines, okay, and then lorek, okay, colorkan ke apa, the profit, okay, the area here, okay, so the area between the total cost and the sales revenue is the profit line, okay, is the profit area, okay, and the area under fixed cost to zero, okay, and between the blue line and the red line is the loss area, okay, so lorekkan and tandakan, and then the line under total cost and between fixed cost is the variable cost area. Okay, and the line under the fixed cost line and zero, okay, here is the fixed cost area. Okay, so when you prepare the CVP chart, you must show all this, the names of this line, the point of break even, and also what denotes, okay, the area before, under, okay, under the lines or between the lines, okay. So ini sama je lah, okay. Okay, so this is the preparation of the break-even chart. Okay, sama je lah. Okay, you can choose whatever format that you want from the three format. Okay, so how do you prepare it? Okay, so first plot the total fixed cost on the vertical axis, and then draw the total cost line with a slope equal to the unit variable cost. Okay, so here, mula-mula first draw the fixed cost, and then okay, and then draw the total cost line. Okay, the second line will be this line. Okay, the line above the fixed cost. Okay, and then starting at the origin, draw the sales line with a slope equal to the unit sales price. Okay, and then from here, okay, the third line will be this line. Okay, starting from the origin 0, okay, and this line must cross, okay, with the total cost line here, okay, to determine the break-even point, okay. So the point that intersect between the total cost line and the sales line is the break-even point, okay. And then color, okay, color or name, okay, the areas under each line or in between the line. What does that area mean? Okay. And on the chart, you will have to show, okay, the point here, this is the break-even point, and what is the amount, the break-even amount in dollars, and what is the break-even amount in quantity. Okay, so that is is how you prepare the CVP chart. Okay, so it's going to be asked in your exam. Okay, so better plot it correctly. Okay. Okay, so that is on CVP chart. Okay. Now we're going to look at the next section. Okay, in targeting the profit. Okay, so this is actually the expanded version of the BEP where you add, okay, a profit to the fixed cost. Okay, so you add profit to the fixed cost. Okay. So what if a firm doesn't just want to break even, it requires a target profit or income. Okay, so the firm have a targeted amount of profit. Okay, so you want to calculate, okay, what would be the amount in sales, okay, dollars and amount in sales quantity. Okay. Okay, so you can use the break-even analysis formula, but you will add, okay, another component that will be the target profit. Okay, so tak nak tengok ni, tengok dia punya ni. Okay, so this is mathematical equation. I don't want to show you using the mathematical equation. Okay, so now you look at the expanded formula from the BEP formula. Okay, so the white one here is the same. Okay, the white one here is the same as the previous formula, but now you will add, okay, the target income into the formula. Okay, what will change is only the upper part. Okay, so fixed cost plus target income. Okay, the lower part will be the same. Okay, if you want to find for the unit sales, okay, you will use margin per unit. Okay, so this is for quantity. If you want to find in dollars amount, you will use the CMR. Okay, boleh dapat. Okay, so guna cara yang ni Okay. Okay, so ini explanation. Okay, now the same thing. Okay, the same situation. But dia add, okay. For the example, now we add. Okay, the company wants to earn an income of 40,000. So what will be the amount of sales in units? Okay, so what will be the amounts of sales in unit? Okay, so siapa nak cuba?
Doktor, ni pakai formula
Yang sama.
yang tadi lah. Yang tadi cuma dia
Formula
tambah
tadi yang sama,
40.
dia tambah target, dia tambah profit, target income.
Sekejap.
Jadi sama yang tadi tu, fixed cost over contribution, kata kalau here fixed cost over contribution margin per unit. But for the fixed cost, you have to add the target profit. Okay, so the target profit here now is 40,000. Okay, so 40,000. Sini kan? Mana pergi ni? Ni. Okay, yang ni kan? Okay. So now 200,000 plus 40,000. Okay. You dapat 240,000 and divide by the contribution margin. Okay. So the previous contribution margin per unit was 2. Kan? So 240,000 divide by 2. What will be the units that must be sold? Okay. So you akan dapat apa?
120,000.
You akan dapat 120,000. Okay, so the application is the same, cuma dia tambah lagi satu elemen. Dia add another element, target income. Okay. Okay. So in the question, okay, for if you want to find in dollars, it's the same also. Only here, okay, the unit contribution margin per unit will be replaced with contribution margin ratio. Okay, if you want to find in terms of sales dollars. Okay, so it's the same lah. Okay, sama saja, cuma tambah target income. So if you want to find for the unit for the amount in sales dollars, okay, so fixed cost plus target income 240,000. Okay, now if you use the CMR, okay, so divide by berapa tadi? 0.4 Okay. So you will get the new amount, okay, of sales dollars. Okay. Sebab dia dah tak, bukan BEP lagi ni. It's not BEP anymore because you have a target income. Okay. So you have a profit. Okay. So the BEP formula now plus with the profit. Okay. Boleh faham?
Boleh dah.
Boleh tak?
Okay. So now you you add, sebab when there's a target income, you add the fixed cost with plus target income. Okay, so usually for this question, dia boleh main juga dengan you. Okay, so sometimes they will give you, okay, the amount in sales dollars or the amount in quantity. Okay, they give you the fixed cost, unit contribution memang usually ataupun CMR usually you will have to find. And they will ask you to find the target income. Okay, so itu variation dia. Okay, so you use the same formula but then you gantilah inilah jadi X. Okay. Okay, so ni sama je lah yang chart tadi. Okay, bila ada target income, okay, so the chart will be a bit different. Okay, so dia akan naik sikit. Okay. BP ini BP chart, but then if there is a target income, the amount will be different. Okay, so this will not be the break even point, but this will be the point at target profit. Okay, so ini sebab saya ambil daripada internet, saya tak dapat tukar yang ni. Okay, so that is part 2. Okay, part 2. Okay, boleh digest, banyak formula. Can you still digest?
Boleh betul.
Okay, ada lagi a few formula. Okay, jap. Saya stopkan yang ni. Saya share lagi yang